Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-hosts, Russell Jackman and Mike McDowd. At each commercial break, we are going to ask a trivia question. It's a kind of a random trivia today. And we will have a special guest we're going to introduce in the second segment. And it's kind of special because as a lady, it's kind of nice that this is our Mother's Day, our annual Mother's Day show. Isn't that right, Mike?
You and I were talking about this. Really is going to be a Mother's Day tribute. Our special guest is a remarkable woman. We're going to tell you a little about her. Her name's Krista Keating-Joseph, and she's a woman. Edward, there's so many layers to her story, but really it's the heart of a mother. It's a wife and a friend, and man, she is a phenomenal athlete. Her entire family is just filled with athletes, and I think not. But besides being an athlete, her one son, we'll tell you about him in just a second, also is a hero to this country. And of course, our show reaches overseas with our wonderful military, and I think this is going to be very compelling for them, but everybody who's listening. So, man, this is going to be a special show. And Edward, you and I talked briefly. This show is so unique because you will never hear this story on any other sports show in the world. And Edward, I give credit to you. You have the open mind and heart to say, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's tell the story. And so we're so blessed to have, Krista Joseph on today. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a special show.
Yeah, we're not just a regular sports show where, we say, hey, did you see the basketball game last night? Did you like how many points were scored by LeBron as an example? I mean, that's fine, but that's kind of like everybody's sports shows like that. All right, audience, stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. We are going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown along with Mike McDowd and Russell Jackman and our special guest, Mike. Would you please introduce her?
Yeah, Edward, I'm actually a little nervous. I don't normally get nervous at all doing this. But with her, my friend, her name's Krista Keating-Joseph. And, this show, it's not a show, it's a conversation about a woman who is really an overcomer, but her entire family is got this efficacious spirit. It's a spirit of hope. It's a spirit of inspiration, encouragement, and I hope when we have Krista on that she's going to be able to convey that to so many people because. Krista, first of all, welcome to the show. This show goes border to border. Border to border around the world with our U.S. military, and we're so thrilled to have you aboard. And of course, it's so important because you have two sons, and I want all my military folks to listen, who aren't just military folks. They're the best of the best, the elite of the elitist. Right there. Navy SEALs, United States Navy SEALs. And man, thank you for your sons and for the service that they give to our country.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. And they do. They enjoyed their time being SEALs. It's a challenge, and they wanted to do the hardest thing they could possibly do with their lives.
Well, there's so many layers to this interview. You are well, first of all, you grew up in Phoenix, Arizona. You went to the University of Arizona as a Wildcat. You were on the cross-country team, track team. And
I was.
so,
I had
you had a full scholarship
for academic and track and cross-country. And we ended up being second in the nation at one point in cross-country. And
Wow.
and then I ended up graduating and moving to Phoenix, Arizona, and back to Phoenix where I grew up. And I had my kids, and I went through a divorce, which everyone goes through. But the one thing I knew I could do is teach my kids how to run. And that's what I did. I taught them all how to run, and all of them were national champions at one point. And specifically, the two boys, Charlie broke a 4-minute mile. And when he broke the 4-minute mile, he was at Indiana University on scholarship, and he was a sophomore. And I wanted him to finish college, but he called me and said, "Mom, I'm in the best shape of my life. I want to go to Buds. So he's been wanting to be a
Well,
Navy SEAL since he was 7 years old.
Wow.
since you are talking about your son Charlie, um, the fifth, let's start with
The
his
fourth,
story.
the fourth,
The fourth. I don't know if there's a fifth. I don't know about it.
not yet.
The fourth.
No.
Excuse
Only
me.
his son.
Let's start with his remarkable story because of course, I got to know you through your husband, Ron Joseph. And Ron, Edward, you're going to relate to him, and I believe all of us will. A remarkable man, probably one of the most humble guys I ever met. Just awesomeness. That's the only way to describe him. And you'll understand why later on during the show. But since Krista brought up her son, yeah, you are a gold star mom. So which means that
Unfortunately, you don't. Yeah, you don't want to be a Gold Star mom, but I am.
yeah,
And
and I think it's
well, both boys became Navy SEAls, and it, my son Charlie was killed in Iraq in 2016, 10 years ago yesterday, and
wow.
he was. It went national because at the time, no one was in a battle of any kind, but they were, and it was kind of a secret. So once when he was killed, he has a name, Charles Keating. The fourth, which was Charles Keating Jr., the bank savings and loan person, and that was his grandson. And because of his name and because of what he did, he saved a village, a Catholic village of about 200 when ISIS terrorists were coming in there to take the women and kill everyone possible, as well as there were SEALs that were under fire that could not get out. And so he wasn't supposed to react, but he said, "We're going." He was the chief of his platoon, and he said, "We're going. We're going to go save those people." And they saved him, but they saved all of the SEALs and the village, and he lost his life. He got the Navy Cross, and and actually that village has sent me a necklace of their area. It's called Telescope, and they ring the bell for him for mass every Sunday, and it's called the Charlie Keating Freedom Bell.
Wow,
And then my
wow,
second
wow.
son Billy wanted to be a SEAL, and he was least likely to be a SEAL. He was my middle child, and he was kind of a whiner. So when he told me, "I'm going to do what Charlie did," I'm like, "Oh, no way. There's no way you can make it. You're just not tough enough." So he must have had that in his head the whole time. And that's why he became a SEAL. And then he's my smartest child. And he went to the medic school at Tampa General. He did the U.S. Navy SEAL medic program. And when his brother died, he was 6 months from being deployed. So 2017. And they told him, "You don't need to go. Your brother just was killed and you don't need to go." He goes, "I am trained to be a medic. And if one of my guys goes down, I don't want to not be there." So he went, and sure enough, in February, he was deployed 1 month, and his chief of his platoon was shot in the heart, the same place Charlie was, through the pad. It went right through the pad. But this guy was a big American Indian with a lot of weight on him, and so he threw him in the back of a pickup truck and drove him to Erbil, where they had medics ready to save his life, and they saved his life. And this is weird, you guys, but he woke up and he told Billy, my son, "I saw your brother. He said hi." And then the commander came in and gave him a battlefield medal of saving a life. So he then went on to win Medic of the Year for the YMCA Battlefield, Angel in the Battlefield, and Medic of the Year of all forces. And now he works for Stryker in San Antonio with 3 kids and one on the way.
Wow,
That's the
wow.
story.
Yeah, well, there's so much more than just that because you talk about your son Charlie. He didn't want to be a hero, but in fact, he is a hero. In fact, you have a book called "Charlie, Don't Be a Hero," and
I'm
maybe
not
we're gonna
promoting
hold
this at
on
all,
that.
but
That's
And
okay.
yeah,
And you know what?
I've got that too.
Okay, so
And
when I was in high school, they came out, the Poppy Family came out with the song "Billy, Don't
oh
Be a Hero."
yes.
So
And that's
that's,
where I got it from, as well
yeah,
as the
really,
very last time I saw him here in Florida. The last thing I said to him was, "Charlie, please don't be a hero," because he had the history of multiple times running out into danger and saving people. And he won the bronze medal with valor doing that over and over again. He was deployed 4 different times and did that every time. And I knew when I saw him the last time here in Florida before he deployed in a month later, I knew it. I knew I was not going to see him again. I mean, my heart as a mother, I just knew it. And then the day he died, I knew it was him. Absolutely knew it was him.
Wow. I mean,
So it's just, yeah.
and
it's
you
Mother's
know,
Day, so yeah.
yeah,
It's a tough weekend. Mhm.
it,
Yeah, that's
it
really,
has.
really. Go ahead.
No, Krista. I mean, one of the things is, Charlie was, and I never had the honor of meeting him, but from talking to you and Rob.
Hey, Mike, can you repeat that question?
Oh,
You-
I
I'll tell
never
you,
had.
Mike, hold on. You froze up a little bit. We do have to go to a commercial break and come back, ask your question. Okay. And Krista, as a reminder, I'm going to ask this question. If you know the answer, don't question anything quite yet. All right, gentlemen and ladies, what was Benny Goodman's instrument? Okay, it's an easy one, but it's for the old timers. Okay, we got to figure we could start off with an easy
I
one.
used to play it.
Used to play, so did I. What was Benny Goodman's instrument? All right, that's our trivia question. Audience, stay with us for our continuation of our special Mother's Day Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. One more time, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mike McDowell, Russell Jackman, our special guest, Krista Keating-Joseph. Our first trivia question, what was Benny Goodman's instrument? And Russell, you haven't said anything yet, but apparently you played this instrument. So did I. What was it?
Second chair at the Del Mar Orchestra. As clarinet or
Clarinet.
the licorice stick.
All right. And now the next question I asked is actually going to be easier, but the third question is going to be kind of hard. All right. So, Mike, go ahead. You're asking a question. We had to catch you off.
Yeah, so of course our special guest is Krista Keating-Joseph, and she's a woman of many talents. She's also on the County Commission for St. Johns County, Florida. And Krista, we were talking about your son. I don't know if I don't want to say you're not doing it justice, but I think let's talk a little about his heroic nature, an athlete. So that being an athlete trained him to do what he did. Your entire family are athletes, and as I read the details about his incidents, he was thrusted into a life and death situation where he had over 100 ISIS thugs, horrible people, trying to take them all out. And so he didn't back away. Of course, Navy SEALs don't.
Mm-mm.
And so talk a little about that spirit of being a hero in him. Of course, I'm guessing, Krista, that he never thought of himself as being a hero, but in fact, that's what he is. I mean, imagine us sitting here, wherever we are, and you got 100 bad guys trying to take your life and your buddy's life.
It reminds me of the movie Black Hawk Down.
Yes, and he grew up loving Survivor, the guy that went in and ate bugs, and he loved to challenge himself. He always was on. He was the funniest guy in the room. He was everyone's best friend. He did crazy things in high school. I would just be waiting to hear what I had to go pick him up for. He was always on the edge. He did. I mean, so his father was 5th in the Montreal Olympics in swimming. I married a bronze medalist figure skater in the Olympics. So my husband raised him since he was 4, and my other child was 3, Billy, and then I had a daughter, Adele, at 1. And my husband was the craziest guy that connected with Charlie, and they would go skiing down the triple black diamonds. They would run Aspen Mountain and time themselves to go to 12,000 feet. They each challenged each other in so many different ways. that the connection there was just what made him better. And he always put himself out for everyone, whether it was a relay team, whether it was his compatriots, and he would be the one. Like, he would finish his races. They would time you for running in the buds. He would finish over the finish line. He'd run back and run in the slowest and the one who was crying, and he'd run him over the line so that he would make it. He was the most biggest team player, and really, I think not only was he saving the village, but he was saving his own other teammates. And no one else died but Charlie, and he gave it 150%. And matter of fact, he said, always, I'm always going to give 150%. I mean, the poor kid was on a TV show, you can watch it on YouTube right now. It's called Discovery Outward Bound. And he was a 14-year-old. And if you watch it, he becomes the leader in it. And so they show him all the time because he's the leader in every show. And, he just started that way and always has been that way his whole life. And that's why when his brother Billy wanted to do what he was doing, I was like, really? Come on, But like for Mother's Day, do you know what he did? He picked me up. He was in high school, 16 years old. He said, Mom, be ready. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing? He goes, I'm taking you out for Mother's Day. He took me to a paintball war place, and I had to play paintball against him. And it was the most bizarre thing, but it was Mother's Day, and our whole family was there, including Ron and all my other kids. And I will never forget having all the pads on and then running to hide behind something, and I fell and lost every pad. And the uniform guy looked down at me and said, boy, I've never seen anything like that. So
Yeah.
we've
It's funny.
we've had a wonderful life growing up, honestly.
We played paintball one time, my wife and I. And I couldn't believe this. She literally, and I kid you not, she wore a white jumpsuit for paintball. I said,
There you
"You're
go.
an target. You understand that, don't you?" It's funny. My son is kind of similar to yours. He's now 34, but he's
Good.
I mean, he's not in the army or anything, and I kind of am glad,
That's
what I
okay,
mean?
but they're these kids with this personality, it
Yeah,
really is. Yeah.
yeah. He's always been like that. Good.
No. Krista, I think of course, you and I have never really you told me a little bit about your story, but I got to ask you this question, and I think it's a good one. But as a mother, since it's Mother's Day, what goes through the heart and the mind of a mother whose two sons say, hey, Mom, hey, Dad, I want to join the military. Hey, Mom, hey, Dad, I want to be a U.S. Navy SEAL. Tell me what goes on. I can't imagine the emotions, the psychology, it has to be overwhelming, isn't it?
I'm so proud of them to choose that. And I think if every kid out of high school had 2 years of that, just like I think they do in Switzerland, we'd have a different country right now. We'd have kids that were really more responsible and, the Alpha, the Gen Zs. I mean, we wouldn't have it as so, I don't know.
Understand
I mean,
discipline.
I'm so proud of them. I cannot even tell you to make that sacrifice. And then after Charlie's sacrifice, I'm really proud of his sacrifice. Yes, I miss him, but he gave his life all the way. I mean, he did more in his life at between, now 0 and 31 that any person on this earth could actually do. And he enjoyed everything he did. The only thing he didn't do is have a child. But other than that, he experienced, and where, he loved his faith. We're faithful people. If you're not faithful in some manner, there's no point. I mean, this
Mhm.
country, is just, we're very faithful. And as you know, Mike, my husband's Jewish, and then he converted to Catholicism at the end of his life. But
Mm.
it's all the same. It's believing in something, honestly. And that's why I can get through what I'm getting through.
Mm.
Edward?
Well, I was going to say that at one time I asked my brother. I was brought up in the Jewish faith to both parents, and I accepted Christ when I was 24 years old. But I asked my brother. I said, "What what do you think about, like, after when you die?" And he goes, "Ah, when you die, you die." And I'm thinking, God, that's
No,
very
no.
realistic way to look at it. I mean, that means that life means nothing, and it's like, well, what? Eat, drink, and marry for what is it? Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow you die. But then even that, it's like, so what? People who understand. People who don't understand, they don't understand, and it's just it's
Well, I
kind of
mean, the things that my sons saw in another country, third world country, is horrific. I mean, these boys in these veterans live with sights of what they do to women, what they do to animals, what they do to just living. We have no idea in America. You don't realize how lucky you are to live in this country. Sure, maybe go to Britain and go to, I don't know, Switzerland or something. But if you go to the third world countries, the way people are living there is not even close to how we live here. And we are so lucky, just so lucky.
Yeah, and furthermore, being a mother and a wife who lost her son, and then recently, well, we're going to talk about your wonderful husband and my friend Ron Joseph, Dr. Ron, and but in order to survive in this world, granted, this is a sports talk show, it's a secular sports talk
Yeah.
show, but without hope, and you deal with these types of scenarios, these situations, if you don't have like well, of course we love God, Jesus, or a higher power. How do you live? How do you exist in this world? I believe you cannot. I believe you cannot. You feel the same way?
Absolutely. And if you watch the Olympics, which of course I'm kind of an Olympic groupie with the two husbands I've had. And my husband always said, I really worry about the gold and the silver medalists because I have the bronze and then you keep moving up because the first one was fifth place and then he was a third. So, anyway, that was his joke. But, if you watch the Olympics, there are people crossing themselves. There are people, praising God. There's people, looking to something higher than what they're actually doing, and they are in the best shape of your life and they have bodies made for what they're doing. Come on. I mean, it's got to be from somewhere, right? I mean,
Yeah, we didn't get here by accident.
no.
Right.
And it's so funny because I talk about, when I was a kid, the Earth was only 3 billion years old. Now it's like 6 billion or 9 billion. And I think in 100 years from now, people go, oh, you silly people, it's 15 trillion years old. Don't you know? Okay, anyway, we're going to go to our next commercial break. Simply, then they'll get into the quadrillions and then the quintillion years. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Here's another easy trivia question for you guys. Wayne and Garth sang which song in Wayne's World? No, I'm not going to give you the group because it's that easy, all right? But the next question is going to be hard, so you have to stay with us. All right, audience, stay with us. Don't touch that dial. We are going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here along with Michael McDowell and Russell Jackman and our special guest, Krista Keating-Joseph. All right, second trivia question, Wayne and Garth. So I don't even have to give last names because actually I don't know them. Saying which song in Wayne's World? Krista, you know the answer to that one?
No, but I can see him going like this.
All right, Mike, we'll let you answer that one. What's the answer?
Wayne's World, Wayne's World. I don't know.
No, come on, you know that. Okay, Russell, I know you know the answer. Hello,
No.
you're on mute there, sport. Wayne and Garth saying which song, and now I'll give you a hint. From the group Queen.
Bohemian
Yes, that's right. All right, don't worry though. The next question is going to be, I think it's hard.
Sing a song at the. I thought you were talking about when they got together in the concert and they sang
in the
with
car. In the car, they're doing.
Okay, I was thinking about when they sang with Tia Carrera in the concert. I forgot what song they sang. There's something. Maybe it was Walk This Way.
I've never actually seen the whole movie. I've only seen like bits and
pieces. Oh, come on. It's so funny.
I know.
Yeah. Not the new one, but the original one.
Yeah, the original one. Yeah.
For sure.
Dana Carter, who actually lives close by here. Okay, Mike, a little sports, excuse me, a little sports because Krista's husbands were Olympians.
Yeah, I mean, look, Edward, and Russell. This story is so. I hope we do it justice because it's so complex. Krista has this incredible son was killed in battle, an American hero. Then I had the honor of knowing her husband. Her husband, I'll try to tell it as quickly as I can, but he wouldn't tell me much about himself. I met him at a men's group for faith, and he simply said, he was so authentic, so real. We didn't talk about his profession. We didn't talk about his past. We just talked about our faith and his love of family. And interesting enough, I said, "Well, Ron, what do you do?" And he's like, "Well," he finally spit it out. He's like, I'm a doctor. I'm retiring." I said, "Well, okay, wow, that's pretty cool." Here's where it gets interesting. Not only is he a doctor, but he's actually a very famous doctor. He pioneered a surgery that Crystal will tell us about briefly. And then furthermore, what he would not tell me, guys, is,
Yeah.
oh, by the way, I'm an Olympic athlete. And I
And
won
that's
the
the
bronze.
medal.
There's the bronze medal that he won with his sister. And
That's
I
his
don't, I
sister
don't
right there.
and not only was Olympic athlete, but both him and his sister were inducted into the U.S. Figure Skating Hall of Fame. And but your husband was such a humble man, wouldn't tell you anything about himself, which the great ones don't have to. But can you tell us just a little, and he contracted ALS, and he went through quite a battle, but yet he did it with such dignity and love. And tell us a little about Ron, and then because I mean you've been through so much, and you're going through your own personal battle right now with your own health, and just what a story. And Ron, thank you for the gift of Ron.
No, he was a hand surgeon, hand and shoulder surgeon, and the reason he wanted to be a hand surgeon is because there was no blood when he does surgery. But he, some of the things that he was the first hand arm transplant in Scottsdale, Arizona. He did things like water skier. A woman was water skiing and the boat spun too fast and the rope cut her arm off. She was a nurse, so she grabs her arm, throws it in the cooler, and they helicopter her into Ron, and he spends 24 hours putting every single thing back. I still get a Christmas card from her that she's using her hand normally. I mean, there's all these stories. When I was first going out with Ron, someone across the room would raise their hand up and go, look, I can lift weights now. It was really pretty funny. But he also was an Olympic medalist, bronze medalist. And the interesting story about that is he was a little chubby in Chicago, Highland Park, Chicago. And he loved to skate, and he would skate against his friends in the schoolyard at about 5 years old. And they would always beat him. So he asked his mom if he could learn and get some skating lessons. So his mother said, sure, and took him and his little teeny sister, and they started skating. And finally, the coach said, let's put those two together. And they were 7 and 8 years old and 9 years old, winning everything. And they had the well-known figure skating coach that coached like Michelle Kwan and all of them, but they were very young at the time. And they actually won the junior nationals, and they were to go to Prague to with the U.S. figure skating team, because they were the #1 figure skaters that were coming up, and the only Jewish ones that they were constantly discriminated against all the time by the judges, but they had to be perfect, and they were perfect. And you can watch them right now on YouTube, actually. Anyway, they won the junior nationals. His mother said, you're not leaving to go there until school's over. So the team went in 1961. The entire plane went down in Prague. Everyone was killed. And the brother and sister, Ron and his sister Vivian, were probably the few people left because the mother made them stay home for school. And that immediately rose them to one of the top figure skaters. And so then that was 61. They were in the Olympics in 1964 in Innsbruck, and his sister was only 13 and he was 17 or so. And she was the youngest Olympian. And then after that, 1965, they went to the Worlds and they were second in the world. But what you don't know is the fact that the American judge came up to them in the Olympics and said, "I will never vote for you because you're Jewish." And the other countries are the ones that had them pushed to the third place medal.
Yeah,
So
isn't that
it,
incredible?
it's incredible.
I don't,
It's
I
terrible. It's
first
yeah,
don't get it.
yeah.
It's like, you know what? I mean, listen, what did the Jews ever do? Right? It's
No, and
like,
it's
you look at,
they're the first Jewish Winter Olympic medalists in the entire world,
Wow.
not just America. I mean, anyway, his
you know,
sister wanted to
how could
do
the
the
judge be,
the ice shows, and he went to med school.
yeah.
And guys, and we'll wrap it. Hey, Edward, you're not, you want to, we said, let's talk about sports, but believe me, this beats any sports. Oh, let's go on the NBA playoffs. Give me a break. I don't mean that, but you know what I'm saying. You and I talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
But you want to talk about a life that's truly efficacious, beautiful, meaningful. God had a plan for Ron. He kept him and his sister alive, and the story really winds up to be so beautiful in so many ways. I think that's a fair. Is that a fair statement to say?
Yeah, yeah, and if you watch the YouTube where you hear Dick Button talk about them as they're getting better, they actually have throws and things that they're doing now that they're the ones that created the throw and the putting a foot on. I mean, these different little things that you do, but
Uh-huh.
they changed the sport, and it's really fun to watch if you ever have a second. It's black and white though. So.
Of course it is. Hey, just as a sort of aside, since it is Mother's Day, I have a cute little pun here. You ready? This is one of those silly
Okay.
puns. So, um, in the old days, I could have had any woman I pleased. The problem was I never pleased any. So, okay.
Okay.
I knew Mike would like that one. All right, we have a few minutes. Russell, do you have any questions for Krista? Or
No, I'm
you're
fine.
just taking it
Thanks.
all in. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Well,
That
after the horse race, you have to talk about the horse race. I mean, that was incredible.
was
Dead
exciting.
last to first, and the
Yeah.
woman being the first woman trainer. I mean,
Yeah.
that's an awesome thing too. So.
It was amazing how you have to be such a phenomenal jockey to know when to hit the gas,
Oh
so
my
to speak.
God.
You can start having the horse go a lot faster, but you might not have enough time. But it was like
And
I think
his brother was right there. I mean,
yeah.
it's crazy. First and second. That's like Billy and Charlie. I mean, it's the kind of training those boys have done together are the same kind of things my son and his son, his son and my brother, whatever.
Can you imagine those two jockeys, the brother and brother love, the mindset, what
Oh
one
my
is
gosh.
thinking as they're racing side by
The young
side?
one, though. The
I
young one
mean,
beat the older one.
yeah, no, I mean, wow. Life, what an amazing for lack of a better word, journey for so many people. And it's now let's talk about the NBA playoffs.
All right, let's talk about the Russell.
Well,
Okay, Russell will chime in because he loves the NBA. Go ahead, Russell. Get off
Yeah,
mute.
well, I thought that's why we were here, was to talk about
Well, we
these
had a
kind of.
special guest. We had to get into
I
conversation with her.
mean,
But go ahead.
we had one of the biggest clobberings in the history of the NBA, and then with the Knicks destroying the Atlanta Hawks, and then going right back after that and doing almost the same thing to Philadelphia in Game
Yeah.
1. So I think you better.
They said it's the first time that's happened, like where they won by 50 points each game. Yeah, something ridiculous. So
Over 40, yeah.
they're not the favorites, though. Oklahoma's still the favorites, aren't they?
They are, but I think the Knicks are going to go represent the East. I think they'll face Cleveland because I think Cleveland's going to be the one that wins out of the. Although that game's going on shortly, or it could be Detroit. But I was surprised to see Detroit have so much trouble against Orlando, and
Yeah.
Orlando, taking them to a Game 7. We had a bunch of Game 7s. We didn't obviously get to talk about it because all that stuff was happening in between shows. But for a first round to have 3 Game 7s in the series is not usual. You usually have so many sweeps, but that didn't happen so much this year.
But
Yeah.
doesn't the networks and the team benefit from that because they make more money?
Well,
That's a good
okay, so
thing.
that was going to be my point. Now, so in baseball, the way it is, I think it's still this way. Teams only get paid for the first 4 games. And the reason is because they don't want teams tanking on purpose. Okay, here, we'll let you win this game. You let us win the next game. So push it off to 7 games. I would think it's probably the same in basketball. Russ,
I don't think so. And the owners make a lot of money off of TV revenue and ticket sales. You can't say they can't make any ticket
That's
sales.
true. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. But there was a rule though.
people buying jerseys and so forth.
Yeah,
You know,
that kind of stuff. But
you know, the longer you can stay in, that's in fact probably why they enjoy having, you know, the playing games, because that's even more money that they make.
Yeah.
You know,
maybe the players don't make like per game though. Maybe that's what they do, because they don't want to encourage it to go longer than it really needs to. Okay, you guys ready for our third trivia? Go ahead, Mike, really quickly.
Real quickly, the soundtrack of decades of baseball has passed away. John Sterling, the voice of the Yankees, and he was a legendary voice. The Yankees win. The Yankees win. You know, so it just a salute to him, because he truly is. He's like Vince Scully. He's one of the voice tracks of baseball, and I think he deserves to be mentioned.
Well, we just did. Okay, here's our third trivia question. What is the national instrument of Ireland? What is the national instrument of Ireland? Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. I'll be right back with some closing comments. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mike McDowell, Russell Jackman, our special guest, Krista Keating-Joseph. Our third trivia question, what is the national instrument of Ireland? Anyone? Mike?
the harp.
I'm going to say
Yes, the harp.
Oh
was
my
just gonna say the horn.
goodness.
Yeah.
Very good, Russell.
Good job.
I mean, he's pretty
See,
good.
that's why I'm here. I'm good for the trivia stuff.
Yeah, very good.
I gotta take my kid to Little League.
Just
I
gonna
guess
say that.
I'll
That's
see.
pretty good. Okay, now before we go, Krista, you said that you were on Fox and Friends a few different times
Yes.
with Pete Hegseth, and go ahead, promote your books.
I won Book of the Year for a children's book about Charlie. They're true stories about Charlie and his sacrifice, as well as his true stories growing up. And there's 4 of these and 1 of these. There you go, on Amazon.
Charlie, Don't Be a Hero, and then the one looks like for kids, Big Hearted Charlie Runs the Mile.
Yes,
I
and
like
it's a Big Hearted Charlie series. There's 4 of them, and one is Big Hearted Charlie Never Gives Up, and on. So you'll love them.
Wow,
They're good for
that's
kids.
great. And people go to Amazon, pick it up?
Yes. Yep.
Very good. Well, Krista Keating-Joseph, thank you so much for your family, first of all, and
Thank
for
you.
you coming on our show. It was an absolute pleasure to have you. Michael, any last words before we get to our thoughts of the day?
Oh, I just want to honor my friend Krista and being a mother and a husband, and no, she's not a husband, she's a wife. But I just want to thank you for her husband Ron and her son, and just thank you for coming on this show and sharing your story, because it's a story that must be told and it must be preserved for decades.
There's a huge following in California for C4. So if you say C4 Chuck Keating, you'll have people watching this show because they love him.
All right, that's awesome. Okay, here's our thoughts for the day. So every day I get up and I look through the Forbes list of the richest people in America, and if I'm not there, I go to work. All right, and so Robert Ford said that one, and Charles Lamb said this one: I always arrive late at the office, but I make up for it by leaving early. Gotta love that too. All right, audience, tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, your host. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Krista, U.S. military.
So long.